So The Witcher 4 is revealed now, and it's out here for all of us to take it in. And for many of us, it has us very skeptical on the quality of this title. Will CD Projekt manage to deliver on the quality of the prior Witcher games, or even what they were able to achieve with Cyberpunk? Generally, I did think the reveal trailer was pretty good, but it did bring out some concerns from it, mainly because we just don't know what the full game is going to be like. The reveal trailer is just that, a taste of the game, but it is the first opportunity for all of us to take a peek at it. And where I think a better situation would have been creating something where there is more confidence around the project. Now there is a bit of that while also being very cautious on if the developer is actually able to deliver that again. I look here at the Mafia trailer and I'm left with some confidence in that project, even after hearing their points in some of their interviews. Now that I've seen the Witcher 4 reveal trailer and some of the related interviews, I am again left with even more of that feeling of being extra cautious, and in sort of a mixed way as it relates to this game. I'm also a little bit worried. Let's just cut right to the chase. There is a statement said by one of the executive producers for The Witcher 4 that stands out as a big red flag to me. We want to aim for new players. The executive goes on to say that they want the wider audience, the people who know of the franchise but have never played any of the games. This is going to be the start of something new, along with a continuation. This right here, on its face value, has me worried, because it would appear that CD Projekt might be spreading themselves a bit too thin. It would seem that they want to make everyone happy, and I feel this will result in no one actually being happy. We have seen too many recent examples of companies trying to go after a new audience, or even the modern audience, but we all know that one doesn't exist. Companies focused on getting new people to jump on, rather than really appealing to their fan base. That just doesn't end well. Personally, what I would want to hear is that they're trying to respect the existing fans. They want to make a game for those people, the people who have played the prior Witcher games, and the ones that anticipate a new one. The game honestly should be all centered around those people, those players, that have been playing these games since the last entry, and for a very long time, but going in with the idea that you need to cast the widest net for your sequel. Like, I get that from one standpoint. You ideally want the most people playing your game, but trying to then appease this random group of people, you don't really have a number on who those players are, and if they are really interested in what makes Witcher Witcher. This could actually cost you the people that have stayed with you for so many years. So it's a gamble, and I'm not sure it's the right one to make. I think many players and gamers would argue that they want more traditional stuff, more stuff that is in line with what they love, especially about a series. You should really focus on the risks that put the longtime fans first, not these new people that you don't really know the size of that group, and you honestly don't even know if they're going to jump in. Currently, this could go really wrong for the series as the developer tries to focus on a new audience. I think people who have followed this channel for the last month or so are probably going to guess what game I'm going to bring up here where it could go very wrong for a developer. Let me shift your attention yet again back to Dragon Age the Veilguard. In their post-launch interview, the head people of that game admitted to trying to focus on getting newer players to jump in and get a broader audience for that title. This, along with other factors, resulted in that title being a Dragon Age game in name only. The involved choices were not present. It was more of a friendship simulator than that dark fantasy that we've come to love, and they really didn't have the options to allow for the character that you wanted to be and really have those choices. You couldn't really get combative with party members or even not recruit them if you so choose. Worst of all prior characters or even legacy events were disrespected in some sort of a way to have this soft reboot of the entire property. So yeah, it was Dragon Age, but only because the hacks infiltrated that property and didn't really treat it with any amount of respect. They also went in with a defeatist mentality, and they said that no one was really going to be happy with a Dragon Age 4 anyway. And now look where we are with that title, a game that is over a month old, from a huge RPG studio, providing a flop that is failing to maintain any sort of players with also having lackluster sales. Dragon Age might have killed that studio. Whereas look at CD Projekt. I would hate to see this studio go down the same path. I would hate for them to focus on these new players, bring in a new audience. This is something I just don't understand too. Again, I mentioned casting a wide net. You want the most people to play your game, but you need to sort of have some focus to that. Trying to make everyone happy is just going to piss everyone off. You're going to effectively hurt, or even worse, and kill the property that you've spent so many years building up. I understand that there is turnover and talent has left after The Witcher 3, along with Cyberpunk. Then some of us are also worried because there's also stuff found related to the studio being focused on inclusion, and we all know that when that stuff is inserted into a game, especially nowadays, it's done in a forced manner. Again, look at Dragon Age. So what does CD Projekt do? Well, you want to make another entry in The Witcher. You want to make it star Ciri. Again, I'm not really against any of that right there. But at your core, are you going to make a new game for new players, or are you going to make a game for fans? You really cannot have both. You need to pick a focus. I would ditch going for making a game for people who have never played your game. I would argue you need to make the game for the people that have been with you for the last 3 titles. Don't ditch them. They are the most passionate people you have in your corner. They are hungry for more Witcher. They want it and they'll pay for it, especially if it's good and respects the world you built up. And as a plus, catering to your fans could lead to new people jumping in. Keep what makes The Witcher special. Don't change that. Others will get interested because of how you stood with what made The Witcher great to begin with. Whereas if you go for the new player base, there is a really good chance you alienate all of those legacy players. And now, what are you left with? After going through everything with Dragon Age the Veilguard, and seeing what is currently happening with that game, I look at this interview for The Witcher 4 and then the reveal trailer, and I see some flags that indicate to me that it could lead in the same direction. It's like they see that there are rocks ahead, but you decide to keep sailing through them anyway. I think The Witcher developers really need to take to heart what the fans are saying about this game, and figure out how to implement that into their new title. I think there is still time, especially if they are currently focused on that new audience. Change the course of your ship, move away from the risks that you should not be taking, and move back to the waters you know. There's fans and allies waiting for you there. Make the game for them. You currently do not have a release date. You really wouldn't be delaying your game or anything quite like that, because so far you've only really just revealed it. You haven't really showed gameplay, you haven't showed any of that, nor have you had a release date of any kind. So this would be a good time to go quiet, and then come back with something that really shows that you're focusing on the fans and respecting the series. Even in the interview, the producer says that they want to respect the canon. Great, then show us. It was a fantastic thing, seeing CD Projekt make a comeback with Cyberpunk. I mean, I love the game, even in its worst state, but you could not deny it had a bunch of issues, especially in the performance department, and especially with what they did with the PS4 version on the PS4. That was awful. But they managed to come back, make it a lot better, and the game in its current state today is pretty great. I would hate for this company to then waste all of that positive that they were riding on for their next title. Again, I mentioned Mafia: The Old Country. Reception for that seems to be pretty positive. That game is trying with both what it showed and its messaging to really appeal to its fan base. With Witcher 4, we are left with this confusing middle ground, gray area, where I cannot tell you what the developers are trying to do. It's a bit muddled. I discuss and bring all of this stuff up because I want a good game. I don't want a bad one. I do not want to write this game off. I think we are early enough where The Witcher 4 could course correct. The question is, which direction is the studio going to continue to take? What are your thoughts on all of this? What is the right direction for a sequel to take? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.